Hello out there, this is Jimmy Ice Johnson for tonight's episode of Ice Cold with Marshall McPherson. Marshall McPherson over recent weeks has declined any media involvement, and tonight he has kindly agreed to do his first media interview in over 2 weeks. So without any further ado, let's get started. Marshall, how do you feel about Ray Lindsay bringing in a co-GM? Well, Jimmy, it surprised me. It surprised me as anybody else in the Firebirds locker room. We were a bit curious about it as to why a new person was brought in so late in the season with just a handful of games left. But Ray Lindsay has gotten the line set. We're playing well, and I don't know what he's doing, but it's working. So if he wants to bring in a co-GM, if he thinks that's going to help us, by all means, we're going to stand behind him and support him through it and hopefully play some good hockey here and peel off another win before the playoffs. And once we get there, we'll see what happens. Well, Marshall, over the past 2 weeks, your stats have improved. Your goals against average, of course, hasn't risen a whole lot, but your save percentage has shot up dramatically. And is there any reason behind that? Well, you see, we've been playing together a bit better over the last 2 weeks, and you can only stop what you stop, and we try to clear the puck out of the front of the net, make sure that the other team is only getting long shots or not banging in rebounds and other garbage goals. The defenders, Selchuk, Borsato, they're both clearing the puck out of the front of the net, so the team is not getting too many shots on me in a row, and they're only getting, shots I can react to in time. But, they're still keeping the pressure on. We're still getting, 30, 40, 50 shots a game, and out of that, if you stop 9 out of 10, you're doing good. I think that's what defines a good goalie, and if you can stop 9 out of 10 shots, that's minimum the fast. If you stop, .91, .92, .93, you're in that zone where, people want you on your team because you're up to the task of stopping the puck when it's shot at you. Now, if you can peel off a run of 30, 40 shots without a goal, that's great. But a team can't expect you to do that every game in and out. It's hard, and it doesn't always happen because a team can get a lot of quality chances in that 60 minutes. And that's what we're trying to destroy as a Firebirds organization. We're trying to limit chances, destroy golden opportunities for the other team to score. Basically shut out the door, shut out passing lanes, shooting lanes, anything to keep that puck from going in the back of the net. And that's been Ray Lindsay's mantra since he started here is for us to not let in a whole lot of goals, not allow a whole lot of shots that could go in, and it's obviously worked. We've peeled off 8 wins now in the last 10 games, and we're doing a lot better. Well, Marshall, you recently cracked the 20-win plateau. How do you feel? Well, Jimmy, you said it yourself. How do I feel? I feel, excuse the language, fucking ecstatic. The whole team's happy. We're winning. People are putting up points. My stats are rising. We're going into the playoffs with a first-round bye. You really can't complain about that. You take a look at my stats, and there's really not much I can do about them. I'm training as hard as I can, and working with the goalie coach. I can't get much better than I am right now, and I'm doing what I can to stop the puck. The start of the season, you got to recover from all the bad stats you posted at the start, and over the course of the season, you just get better, and that's what I've been trying to do. But you can't really fix what happened in the start. And you got goalies like Hornet, Fisherman, Vargo. They did good from the start. They had their hiccups here and there, but their stats are a bit lower. Me, I wasn't in the weight room. I wasn't training as hard as they were at the start of the season, and I kind of fell behind the pack. And from the start, I've been playing catch up in the training and the stats and all that. But if you take into account the fact that during a 10-game stretch we went 2-8, and I let in quite a numerous amount of goals in that span of time, that shot my goals against average up and lowered my save percentage way down. But if you take a look back at the stats, if you take that 2-8 stretch out, what you're left with is 18-5-3, which is an incredible record for a goaltender. And during the mid-season there, just before we broke out of that winless glut that we had, before Jack Crasher resigned and before Ray was brought in, we were doing pretty poorly, and my stats were just going downhill. I'm not going to call Ray Lindsay the savior of the Firebirds organization, but, he found something that worked, and we're all running with it. There's no reason to change it. Everybody's happy. We're all putting up points, and we're peeling off the wins. Well, Herschel, I've checked into a few things, and from what I can tell is that you may be the highest scoring goaltender. Yeah, you may be the highest scoring goaltender in Northwest Junior League history. You have 6 assists on the season, a power play point, and 2 shorthanded points. How do you feel about that? Do you think it's a little bit reckless to be coming out of your net to play the puck on when shorthanded? Well, Jimmy, you'd have to ask the other goalie. The one that scored on when his team is on the man advantage. I'm just trying to keep the puck out of our zone during their power play, and you pass it up, and Borsato, Selchuk, they can find the open man, and we got speedsters on our team who can break away and get that puck on the net, and all they need is that one shot in the top corner, and it's in, and it's a shorthanded goal. I do my best to help them out, and I only have 2 shorthanded points and 6 assists, but I'm clearing the puck for them, I'm passing up ice, and they're passing it around and getting it on net. If you took into account maybe a tertiary goal or a tertiary assist, geez, I'd probably be up in about 20, 30 assists by now. I like playing the puck. I like getting it out of our zone, helping the defenders out. I like thinking of myself as a third defenseman, helping the defense out, limiting chances, keeping the pressure on the other team, because if you don't have pressure on the other team, then, if you don't score goals, you can't win a hockey game, and that's what's needed. We need more goals than the other team. And if I can help in doing that, that's great. Well, how do you feel about the upcoming draft? The Firebirds, it's unlikely that you're all going to stick together. And how do you feel about the possibility that next season you could be playing with a whole different group of guys? Well, Jimmy, that is a bit depressing, and I have to say that the biggest impact there when it happened was Seth Plott. He was in the locker room. He was a great guy. Great, he livened the place up. And when he left, you realize next season this is going to happen en masse. You're going to have Witzel gone. You're going to have Secchi gone. You're going to have Cordero, Fisher. They're all going to be spread out somewhere. I might end up with 1 or 2 of them on the same team, but it's going to be impossible for us all to be kept together. I'd love playing for Witzel. He's the biggest reason I signed with the Firebirds. I mean, he's a great player. He's a great leader, and you couldn't ask for more in a buddy to play hockey with. But if he ends up on an opposing team, the worst part about it is I know his tendencies and he knows mine. So basically, you hit a stalemate there. I'd much prefer playing with the guy than playing against him. But if that happens, it happens. I got a couple friends here in the league now that I would actually, absolutely love to play with in the SHL, but, I can't go on with the belief that that's going to happen. I would love to have a team with Witz, Fisher, Sekhorn, Weird. I'd love it, but, it's not going to happen, so I have to resign myself to the fact that I'm not going to get to play with my buddies after this year, and just go from there. We all got to carve out our own path, and just hope that it works out well, and we end up on the same team some point in our careers. Well, Marshall, your draft position, a lot of draft reports and a lot of player rankings have you projected as the 4th goaltender in the league behind Fisherman, Hornet, and Vargo, of course. How do you feel about that? And some recent rankings may have you up in the top 3 and or the top 4. And it may not be such a runaway race for the top 3, as you seem to be closing the gap between 3 and 4 pretty well. Seeing as you kept your temper lately, and you're winning and you're putting up the wins, you're increasing your save percentage, and you're lowering your goals against average. Do you think by the end of the playoffs you could basically be one of the 4 goalies that are in a lock for top goaltender to be picked in the upcoming draft? Well, Jimmy, that's outside my control. All I can do is the best that I can do, and hopefully the team, sees that I am the goalie that they'd want on their team, and that, you know, I'm going balls to the wall with the training, and, you know, I'm doing my damnedest to improve to the levels that I need to be at to compete in the SHL on levels such as Fisherman, Vargo, and Hornet. You know, they've all had great seasons. Vargo, my God, the guy is the saving grace of this team. He's kept his team in it night after night after night. And if I was to pick a goalie for my team in the SHL, no offense to Fisherman or Hornet, but I would go with Vargo, just for the simple fact that his team hasn't been doing that good, but he's kept them in more games than they should have lost. He pulled a win out of a hat, you know. And it's incredible that a goalie that, you know, his first year can do that. So, in my humble opinion, I would honestly go with Vargo over anybody else. Now, of course, Fisherman's peeling off the wins. You know, he's approaching 30 wins now, and it looks like he isn't slowing down. But the fact is, the Blazers have been on fire, no pun intended, since the season started. They haven't gone through a whole run of losses, and that's mostly because their team is well balanced, and I'm not sure if Fisherman's benefiting from that or not, but if he is, then, well, we'll find that out next year. Well, Herschel, we're about to wrap things up here. How do you feel about the playoffs? What do you think's going to happen? Well, Jimmy, we got a first round bye, so that means that there's going to be two teams out by the time it makes it to us and the Blazers. Of course, they looks like they're going to finish the season on top of the rankings, and of course, we finished the best in our division, so we get the first round bye. So minimum, we'll make it to the second round, and if at all possible, I wouldn't prefer meeting the Blazers in the finals. They're a good team, and we'd have the hardest time against them. But if that's what happens, if it's Blazers Firebirds final, you're in for one hell of a show. You're going to see Fisherman versus McPherson, and just like the NHL. Game 7, you have Luongo versus Thomas. Well, what you're going to see is Thomas versus Thomas. It's going to be down to the wire. It's going to be a goalie duel, and I can guarantee you that. Well, Marshall, that's all the time we have. Good luck in the playoffs, and good luck in your cup run. Not a problem. Jimmy, pleasure.